Good afternoon, traders. Joseph here from Eightcap. So today we're just going to take a look at, just several markets that we've been watching. It's sort of just mixed up. They're all really interconnected to a degree, though, with the US dollar being the primary connector there. And, obviously, normally if it's rising, you're going to see them fall. Gold has been a little bit different of late, but at the moment it's sort of returned back. Some of the key influences have returned back to some that we're quite familiar with in terms of being inflation and interest rates. So there are some calls now that the Fed is not going to cut interest rates this year. And we did see out of some of the comments from the minutes that inflation remains incredibly sticky and quite is persevering. So it is worrying the Fed a touch. And will it mean, I hate to be the devil's advocate, but does that mean that we could even see an interest rate rise? They are suggesting there's a possibility of one here locally in Australia, but I think the general consensus is that we can continue to hold unless something new comes out to change that fact. And so chart-wise, we're staying with the dollar at the moment. We can see that with that firm move higher that we saw yesterday. I suppose the big question now here for us is we had that bounce off this support area at 104.05. We still have this downtrend in action now. This could just be a lower high. We've seen plenty of them over the journey running down to this low. It's been doing everything right, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So really that comes down to what's the next step here for the dollar. Do we see a new move up, or do we see a new move down that sets up a new lower low, continuing the pattern of trend? If we don't see that, and if we do see a break higher, it's going to have an influence on some of the other markets we are going to talk about. So this could turn out to be a lower high potential sell idea with a new move down. Now if that does occur, that will then shake up the euro, and the euro does look like it's trying to form the starting point of a low, but it's very far away from that point yet. We'd want to see a really nice rally close higher, then even have a bit of a test and a new move back up, a new move breaking that previous high to show the buyers is trying to back in control too. And at the moment though, we are seeing today's rally start to fail, and that could even signal that we'd see a new move pushing lower. Now if we do push lower, we are wondering if we do see some support coming in at this level if it's reached, and that could also start to set up something a little bit different on the euro to the dollar. And we'll be looking at the next rally then. If that rally does fail and we see a new move lower, that could set up potentially a new move to the downside. And this is a similar story with gold. We can see gold at the moment, sellers got a little bit carried away, and what we find that a bit interesting is even with this entire rally up and that new high move into record highs, price has never closed above this previous high, and we did see a close above this high on 2 bars, but this high was never ever closed above. We only had 2 attempts to really break above that previous high. That was the one on yesterday and the day before yesterday, and that one ended up being a spinner. And then as we had that new information come out about inflation, and the dollar got a big boost. We saw gold had a very violent reaction. So it could be the case that there is a fair bit of long interest here, and they could be looking to exit. We can see a lot of times here, every time the price has moved up there, we've seen a lot of selling come in from people as well who could be positioned around these areas or even down these areas here. So the real question is, how much strength and how much momentum do buyers in this bracket here actually have? At the moment, it doesn't look like they have too much strength, and we could just based on what we saw yesterday. So it's going to be interesting to see over tonight and tomorrow just what happens really with the dollar, how much the market really sees this, how much worry they're seeing in this, and then is it going to change actually momentum at the moment. So short-term momentum has been changed, but what we're talking about is medium-term to maybe even potentially longer-term momentum. Is there a dynamic shift going to occur, and are we going to see the dollar really start to do something a little bit differently at the moment? Now, it wasn't too long ago that the market is in an uptrend, so if we do have a look at that, we have spent a fair bit of time moving lower, and is down 2.3% roughly from its previous high. Now if we do have a look, we are seeing higher highs, no higher high here, but higher low. So this is an uptrend if we look at a break from this point, and we are wondering then if this is a new higher low point, and if we do have a new move up, pull back, move back up to test and break this area and get back up to this area. If this does occur, we'll be looking to see things on the euro change quite a lot, moves lower, and then also with gold, potentially, if regardless of what happens in the near term, if we have a little pullback, then do we see a new move down that gets back down to test maybe that 2284 area. So that would be, you know, more of a fair change in dynamics in the market overall. And fitting into this as well is the US30 to a degree. We can see that selling yesterday. Obviously, being a stock index, higher inflation is not good for stocks. You know, news that rates aren't going to be cut this year is also not great for stocks. So if we did have a rate cut, that would, a rate rise, that would also put pressure on stocks. So at the moment, we are seeing the US30 after it did touch onto new records, but like that, after its previous record, we can see the US30. It only really got above that point twice. Well, you know, basically twice, and it was never really comfortable there at all at new records. So that was really just above that 40,000 area, and we've had that close here, which back below 40,000, and then yesterday off the back of the inflation news from the minutes, we had a pullback. So we are wondering if we do see more of a pullback or if we do see price start to stabilize on the short term. It is a fast retracement at the moment. We saw a minor retracement here, but we've seen, you know, fast 1, 2, 3 bar retracement. So do we see buyers really come back in firmly into the market, and will we see, you know, a new push back up to test or break these previous records? I think a lot's really going to come down to over the short term in regards to how the market do see this new dynamic in terms of comments RE inflation. Will we see rate holds, you know, for the rest of the year, and then how do buyers see that, and how does that reflect? It may be seen as a bit of a negative, especially when the expectations was that rates were going to fall this year, and that's starting to you know, basically vanish to a degree. And, you know, is that going to be damaging for, you know, this real confidence that we were seeing from buyers, and buyers then going to be a little bit more cautious? And if we had further things come out that are a little bit more negative, is that going to then push the market, you know, further lower in terms of short to medium term on the time frame? Now, the Nasdaq/NDX 100 CFD index today, you know, it's not having any so much troubles. We are seeing some rallies here. It has hit new records today, so tech stocks aren't really seeing too much impact from this at the moment, with the NDX moving higher. But we do wonder if they will get caught up with that, if things do continue to build up on the sell side, and we saw you know, further selling hitting stocks. So I think at the moment, a little bit cautious times. We are seeing some ideas around continuations higher. We definitely think the markets need to do a lot more to confirm these. This is an inside bar at the moment. Inside bars can be quite risky, so you'd really want to see a nice solid close, maybe a pullback and a new high break to really show that buyers are back in the market. We'd want to see a move back up to test and break these records as well, just to show that buyers are really in control, and we'd want to see it close above 40,000. Now, similar story with gold. Gold is extending its losses at the moment. We can see that, so we'd really want to see it settle a new higher bar followed by a break of the previous high, and similar story for the euro. So it does look like at the moment, just zooming in here, the dollar's trying to pull back its losses today, and it looks like more and more sellers are starting to pick up over those three key risk markets, and you know, further buying onto the dollar index. So let's just see if the dollar index can make a new weekly high. If it can't, and if it does, if we do see further selling come into it, we'll then look to see if there's a continuation lower again. Otherwise, that's a pretty long and deep retracement into that trend, and then otherwise we'll just look to see how some of the other bars firm up. So there are some signs. We do have trends, but it could be a little bit deceiving at the moment with new updates. So we need to give the market a little bit more time and just see a bit more price evidence that we are going to see, lows firm up, and potential, new continuations, develop from those areas. Otherwise, we'll just look to see if we do see some changes in momentum, if there are rallies, very weak rallies to look at, giving us some type of sell ideas. So thank you very much for your time. If you want to add anything, or if you want to let us know if we missed anything, please feel free to drop us a comment. We'd like to hear from you. Otherwise, have a fantastic Thursday, and all the best for the rest of the week, and have a fantastic weekend. Thank you very much, and bye for now.